Hello there, YouTube, and welcome to another cat stream. Today we have Coach Red Pill on with ourselves. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a bit of a thought experiment. Same as what we would normally do with Mr. Red Pill. Is the case of we set a topic and we have a case of trying to argue that topic and trying to go through the different bits and pieces of different political ideologies. Today is going to be sort of a case of I'm going to be arguing on the perspective for the leftist ideology of open borders to see if I can actually do that. It might be a bit hard, but I'm going to try my best for anybody who knows anything about my channel.
Yeah, but you're smart and you got to be stupid to argue that. So I don't think you're going to be able to pull it off, man.
I'm gonna try my best. I can do stupid. I can do this. I can do stupid. I can do this. I'm sure.
No, I don't think you can do that stupid. No, you've got like a natural high IQ that is just you have a baseline that refuses to break down to that level.
You know, I was just going to ask you if you got that 50 quid I sent, Coach, but now I know you got it.
No. Try if you want to, but I mean, you're way too smart to be able to argue with a straight face. It's going to be like open borders and like covering your mouth and like just, yeah, it'll be fucking hilarious. But let's go, sure.
I think that's probably what's going to happen. I think that's going to be the premise of the show. The whole show is going to be me trying to stop myself laughing by arguing for a leftist point of view, and I'm already failing.
Well, I believe I'll be taking the census.
You're a shit actor. So. You're a shit actor. Okay, you're a big brain, but a shit actor. Let's put it that way. You know. Okay, yeah. Go ahead. Act like you're a leftist. I dare you. I double dare you.
But I will be taking the center road myself, and I'm not sure that you have to be a leftist to agree with open borders, and I'm not sure that you have to be a right-wing Nazi to agree that you need a fence in your country. But maybe as it unfolds today, we'll find out what all of us agree on.
Let's go for it.
Sure. Well, obviously, with that being said, we're going to get into today's topic, and today's topic is going to be immigration. So, from my point of view, with all the ideas of people actually dying across the Mediterranean and people dying on the way up to the different countries and things like that, I think there should be a process where the borders are actually more streamlined, at least, if not getting rid of the borders completely, so people can actually go through and actually be able to get processed in the actual countries that they're going to in safety. That would be my premise. I don't really like the idea of having any sort of borders. I think it should be streamless and people should have free movement. After all, if you have trade, you should have free movement. Fuck, that was hard.
No, and as a matter of fact, Coach, if I may just very quickly to piggyback on that, to take this view, because we want to give you a lot of time, Coach. We want to give you time to really make a case. So let me just prime you a little bit more. Not only when we look at free trade, when we consider just a human being, and that there is a line somewhere in the sand and that someone drew, usually based on conquest, a lot of times is a product of war or a product of just imperial conquest, maybe a takeover financially of another country. Then just to cross this line, now they have to go jump these hurdles. Isn't that, just to piggyback off of what he's saying, now you can take over, isn't that basically just moving? And why should a government be involved in someone moving their lives from one place to another?
Well, let's talk about the democracies in the West, right? So the democracies in the West, they're a free people, right? They have decided for themselves that we are going to organize our government whereby the government is responsive to our needs and to our votes, and we decide who leads us and why. And this is our territory, our land. You know, however you define the people who live in that particular territory, however that territory was defined, be it war, be it natural borders, be it whatever. That's their land. Now, why is it that people from some other place get to just show up at somebody's country? It's like, inviting people to, people showing up randomly at your house without any kind of invitation. Now, the problem, of course, is immigration. There are different kinds of immigrants. There are people who have who are of high value because they are very educated. They have, a lot of knowledge about whatever, computers or medicine or what have you. And then there are other people who are not so well educated and some people who are extremely uneducated. And one can easily infer that the people who have less education will be more of a burden to the social safety net that has been built up in the Western democracies. So why is it that these people who have never contributed to the system get to show up to your country, barge in, and arrive there, and since they are poor or uneducated or what have you, start to drain on the resources that the people who already existed in that country have all contributed to? Why is it that the citizens of a country get to contribute, but then somebody else from a foreign country gets to actually use up those services? That doesn't seem very fair now, does it?
It depends on your point of view. I mean, obviously, if you had somebody from Romania or from the Eastern Bloc, for instance, that's coming across to Spain, you wouldn't say that their economies are even anywhere near exactly the same. You wouldn't even say that their cultures are exactly the same. So why, under the premise of the idea of a westernized democracy, would they be able to transfer their goods and their needs, even if they are low-skilled workers, for instance, as farm laborers, be able to transfer their ideas and their immigration to be able to go to Spain or go to England or go to Scotland or go to wherever, where somebody outside of the EU in itself wouldn't be able to just come into other countries to fill the voids that have already been taken by other people exodusing?
Well, I think that it was a huge mistake to have allowed so many countries to enter the European Union. When was the big push of the 14 countries?
It would have been 97, 98.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. Where all those countries, the little countries, the poor countries, the countries that didn't have their stuff organized, they were allowed to enter. I think that was a terrible mistake. And it's caused all kinds of problems in the EU, where people from those poorer countries are the best people, the most energetic, the young, the educated. They're all moving to the richer countries. And it's become a brain drain to those countries like Poland, like Romania, what have you.
Now, that's a good argument, Coach. But I want to back you up before we get too far ahead. You made some really good points. I just want to press you on one. You made a comment about show up to your house. Now, I want to separate this from the eating up of resources. All right, because if I want to premise that we lived in a perfect world as we all espouse our ideas. Otherwise, we'd all take too much time saying in a perfect world. So, in a perfect world, you wouldn't be able to cross the imaginary line I spoke of before and then get welfare. I mean, my God, no one would help you. And even the neighbors in the new town would be like, what, are you a drunkard that's going to sleep in my barn and you want me to feed you? That's not going to happen. But historically, throughout mankind. So I just want to back up to this. You said come into the house. It would be like coming to the house. But what if it wasn't really like coming into your house? What if you were a very wealthy landowner that had 100,000 acres, possibly a ranch, whatever it was? You had 100,000 acres. A lot of the land was unused, and the people that moved into it proved up on it. In other words, improved the land without hope of owning it or being recompensed for their proving up. Is that too much of a mouthful for you to consider?
No, it's certainly a legitimate question, but the problem then becomes, how do you determine who's who?
Well, the determination
on the resources and who's going to be improving the land. I mean, what
someone
your
with
point
their
is
just
great.
quickly, someone with their hand out. That's it, Coach. In other words, the only test for that would be help me. Then it's like, why did you even come here if you couldn't make it? So, and remember, perfect world. So I won't interrupt you again, sir. Sorry.
No. You're perfect. We're just we're shooting the breeze. This isn't
yeah,
like.
I want your take on this.
No, look, the problem then becomes, how do you determine which is which? Okay. Now, what you're saying is it's completely legitimate. What happens if you have, like, say, just for the sake of argument, you have like a big brain engineer with like all kinds of PhDs and crap like that, right? And he's like a big time inventor and stuff like that. Would you want him in your country, whatsoever your country might be? Hell yeah. He's a smart guy. Worst case scenario, he'll wind up teaching at a university where he'll impart his knowledge to, the up and coming generation, right? That's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, he invents something amazing and, does all kinds of good things for your economy and your society and your country. Okay. So of course, the idea of nobody can cross a border, that's absurd. Okay. On the one hand, because on the one hand, there are practical reasons where somebody would want to cross a border, say a person on a business trip, to give an obvious example. So you can't have closed borders where you're walled off from the rest of the world. Now, insofar as having immigrants, there's nothing wrong with having immigrants. And if they're qualified immigrants that help your society, you welcome them with open arms. The problem becomes that gray area where the the people coming in are not helping your society, and in fact hurting it. And in fact, for instance, in the United States, if it were up to me, I would not allow that big brain PhD engineer to enter the United States. And do you want to know why?
Yes, please.
Because in the United States, like the big tech companies, they've been in collusion since way back in the 80s, in informal collusion of trying to maintain low prices for engineers. And they are the biggest lobbyists in Congress insofar as relaxing immigration laws, specifically the H-1B1 visas, which is for high-skilled workers. Okay, because what the tech companies want is more of these high-skilled workers from South Asia and East Asia to come to America to drive down the cost of engineers. A U.S. engineer that might cost, you know, $120,000 to $250,000 a year. Well, that's an awfully big expense, right? But you can get that same engineer for half to a quarter of the price for a mere $60,000 a year if he comes from South Asia or East Asia, and he'll be happy. They'll be happy to do the job. Okay.
Yeah, those are good arguments, though, Coach. But the only problem that I have with that is, shouldn't they still have the right to be able to come to the country in itself? I mean,
why do they have the right?
Yeah, but as you're quite rightly saying, that the people do actually come across, and they're actually not necessarily the right in that aspect. But if you have somebody that is an engineer or a brain surgeon or whatever, is actually qualified to be able to come across and actually be able to help the civilization in itself or the society in itself, why does it matter if the money in that side of it goes down? Don't they have the connections to be able to make the society a better place? It doesn't matter necessarily about the price or the economics going down or up, does it?
Yeah, of course it does, because it affects all those workers who are already living in that country, the citizens of that country, presumably, whose wages are going to be impacted by this immigration. And that's something we wouldn't want now. What is it? I mean, if you're one of those engineers, do you want to be negatively impacted by an immigrant?
This is going to be really hard. This is going to be really hard, but let me get this out there. Yes, I would do if I felt I was helping somebody.
I have a little help for you, Common Sense. I actually have a little lifeline for you here. As a centrist, if I may posit this, Coach Red Pill. When you say it's driving down wage, I'm not going to disagree with you, but we look right now in the demographic that is rising in the United States at an astronomical rate is Asians and Indians. And I know they say Indians, I mean dot Indians in Asia, but bear with me. We just want everybody to know what they are. So South Asians. Now, when they first came, they were, of course, the wage lowered. Now, I just went and seen my doctor, Dr. Aziz. He is from Afghanistan. My last doctor, Dr. Ahmed, was from Afghanistan. Majority of the people in Bay City, Michigan is where my hospital is, a very tiny northern town. You'd be hard pressed to find an American there. But the wage, so instead of going on this long thing, let me just get to the point. Equilibrium, Coach. So yes, maybe the wages for engineers right now are just out of reach. They're so high. They're too high. And then when we do get a flood this way, the common market finds this magical equilibrium. And I believe that this could be a very good thing economically for us, counter to what you just said.
Well, I'd just like to quickly piggyback off the top of that, if I may. Isn't that the whole process of the free market for it to be able to regulate itself? What Coach Red Pill was actually suggesting is the fact of regulating it through the idea of stopping immigration. But surely if it was a free market in its entirety, then you'd be able to have the immigration come in to set the prices of what's going on. You could then either pay for a crap engineer, so to speak, or you could pay for a good engineer. And the market itself would find, as Olga just said, an equilibrium for being able to work out what's good and what's bad, and the prices would reset itself.
Yeah, but the thing is, you have the issue of a social good. You don't want the people who are already living in the country to see their wages decrease over time because of this influx of immigrants. Now, do you? I mean,
well, I don't mind it.
To be more poor? Do you want your current population to be more poor? And the only people to benefit are the rich people?
I disagree with the premise. Because not the only people.
Which premise?
Well, is that by a flood of engineers coming, and I'm going to focus on this one thing. You said engineers, and they will not go into civil engineering, but mathematicians. With a flood of them coming in, It shows in reality, if a country is functioning well in educating their youth what it can aspire to, then shows the true market value of an engineer, therefore lowering prices for so-called rich people and the consumer alike. So I think the better premise would be, do I want cheaper services? And my answer would be yes.
Well, my answer would be no. But my answer would be a most definite, resounding no. If the cost of that lower price for a service is that the existing professionals in a particular country become poor because of it. I mean, that would be self-evidently obvious now, wouldn't it?
Well, not necessarily, because the people that are coming across would actually be earning more money, so they would actually be happy. And if you were to lower the other prices for people that are indigenous to the country, for instance, then they would try and actually, as you quite rightly would say before, would actually try to make themselves a better person by becoming the manager or by retraining. So actually, it would be
first of all, that retraining stuff, that's bullshit. And we've seen that over the last 25 years. People lose their jobs and retraining doesn't help them. You know, what happens is that the available jobs just disappear. We've seen that with globalization. We've seen that in flyover country, where most of those people in flyover country who lost their jobs because they were in like some one factory town and the factory just got shipped off to Vietnam or China, wherever. Those people wound up trying to retrain and all this, 90s bullshit, and they got nowhere. Okay, so when you have like a mass departure or mass immigration, mass departure of factories or mass immigration of workers, the impact is too great and too fast. It's an issue of speed. It's too fast for the economy to recover and for people to quote unquote retrain. Somebody who's 50 years old, he can't retrain. He's like an engineer. He can't retrain to be like a chef or some shit like that. It's absurd. It just doesn't happen. Not in reality.
But you wouldn't ask an engineer. You wouldn't ask an engineer to retrain to be a chef. You're trying to retrain the engineer to either be a teacher to the new people coming across, as you quite rightly suggested before, or you would try to retrain that engineer to be able to come up to a further level of being an engineer, like an engineer's manager or supervisor. You try.
Well, hang on a second. The example I gave of an engineer who turned into a chef, it's not an example I pulled out of my ass. It's an actual example of this book called Squeezed by Elisa Quart that just came out, and it's about how the middle class has been completely squeezed by the current economy over the last couple of decades, and people aren't really realizing it, but we're seeing the political effects of that. And there is a case of an engineer, an aeronautical engineer, who lost his job and retrained. He went to culinary school and he got into all kinds of debt to do the stupid culinary school because he was told retrain, be something else. And, he became a chef and he couldn't get a job at that, and I think he's like a short order cook or some shit like that. I mean, like way overqualified for the gig that he's doing. And he's got this mountain of debt. He's worse off than before, and he knows that his job was taken over by an immigrant. And that's an actual example in this book, Squeezed, which I highly recommend to anybody who's hearing it, by Elisa Quart.
And I appreciate that, but even the book is with due respect. It's anecdotal. It happens. Things happen. We could pull up incidences. So I just want to press you one more time. Do you believe in the power of the free market? And do you believe in the equilibrium that Professor Nash so historically discovered with his brilliant mind that
mind. Yeah, I know.
All right, he was a little crazy. So again, you said no. Now expound, sir. It is your turn.
Yeah. First of all, in the West, there is no such thing as a free market. Every market that you have is being, somebody's thumb is on the scale. So to claim that we live in a free market environment is just absurd. Okay, we have the fact that the government can so decisively influence a market, and the fact that it is so easy to purchase political influence, especially after Citizens United. We're talking strictly about the United States, not the other Western democracies, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so because I don't know the law in the UK, but I do understand that it is analogous in many respects.
Yeah.
Now, what's happened is that because of the fact that it's so easy to buy political influence, and that political influence can have a direct impact on markets by way of basically putting a thumb on the scales of that particular market. There's no such thing as a free market in the United States, not in any industry whatsoever, except the most, trivial market. Any big money market, the government is influencing it. So to claim that there's a free market.
I'm going to say this quickly. I'm going to have to say this quickly. I really don't want to, and I'm going to bite my hand off afterwards. But that's the whole reason why we need the idea of communism, to take money out of politics, to be able to make sure that it's actually non-corruptible.
Well, how about the greater good? How about the greater good? Because common sense, I love what you're saying, and I know you're trying to play, but let me be serious now. Let me be realistic. I mean it from my heart.
Well,
what you're saying is, my question was, do you believe in the free market? And you said no, because there is none. And I can't disagree with that. But once again, the great John Nash did say that equilibrium is found not when everyone does what's best for oneself, but when one does what's best for oneself and everyone in the group. And that is equilibrium. That is the free market. That is my strawberry pie is $20 because it's December 25th, Christmas, and you want a strawberry pie and there ain't been no strawberries for 3 months. Now, but then, of course, in the summer, that same pie is $3. That is this equilibrium. So I don't want to press you too much, but do you believe, oh my goodness, Count Dankula, we're going to get into this. We're going to shift to Dank. I didn't think you'd come. I actually said I'd send this out to you today because our guest asked if you'd come by, and I mentioned before the show that I was trying to get you on for that time, but I know your time's probably tight. So common sense, is it okay? I'm not saying that the sun shines on a Dank's ass, but is it okay if I just forget about my next question, introduce the gentleman, and then maybe get on into the UKIP thing?
That's absolutely fine, as long as that's what Count Dankler actually wants to do. Then that's absolutely fine with me. Yes.
Oh, no, it's your show, man. You do what you want.
No, yeah. Well, I don't want to keep you much, Dank, because I really appreciate you coming by, but I want to get you on. We've got some lads that want to talk to you bad. Just happens that our guest tonight's one of them. And I would like to get you on when we have a little more time. And I know you got your show tonight, mate. And let's face it, we've all got to feed the dog, man. We've all got to get to do what we have to do. So let me do this. Thank you, Common Sense, for that. We have a man that needs no introduction, the great, the one and the only Count Dankula. If I make too big a deal out of it, it'll feel weird. So Count Dankula's here. We also have Coach Red Pill, two guys that I personally, I look up to them in different ways. I'm not, trying to kowtow or anything.
Looking up to Dankula, kudos to you. Looking up to me, you got to find a better class of idol. I'll tell you that right now.
All right, now calm down. I'm going to cut you loose in a second. Calm down. So, yes, I look up to both of these gentlemen. I wouldn't call either one of them my idol. But I've noticed, Dank, you've before I really cut Coach Red Pill loose and Common Sense Guy and I pretty much become side players in our own game and listen to what you gentlemen have to say. I've noticed that you're making this shift, Dank. I watch majority of your stuff. I watch every video you put out. I like your videos. And
he's not kissing your ass, by the way, not at all.
Well, no, I hate your live streams, man. I never watch them. If I do, I swing by and pop you $5 and leave. But I do love your videos. So I want to be honest. That said, I noticed a shift. In fact, a shift of some of my gurus, you being one of them. What's going on with UKIP? You give your opener, and then we're going to turn it over to Coach Red Pill to ask any questions he'd like.
It's because in regards to the things that we actually want to achieve, like individual rights, being anti-collectivist, and most of all freedom of speech, out of all the political parties that currently exist in the UK that actually have any kind of sway in any way whatsoever, none of them care. None of them give a shit about any of these things whatsoever. And if anything, all they're doing is pushing for more government control, more governmental powers. And that's all they care about. And every single one of them are just mostly interested in virtue signaling, diversity is our strength. Even though I'm a politician that's supposed to benefit the country, I'm instead going to use this platform so to make everybody know what a good person I am. Like, that's all they're interested in. They're not interested in actually being a benefit to the country and protecting individual rights. And the only party that actually did give a shit about that is UKIP. And they're the only one that currently has active MEPs and actually currently has any sway at all in the European Union, especially when it comes to things like Article 13. So basically, that's the main reason why we have all joined UKIP. Obviously, we don't agree 100% with all of the policies, but I mean, how many people can be part of a political party and agree completely 100% with every part of the manifesto? That's just you being a circle jerker. If that's what you do, you can't just go like that. Like, any rational, rational or reasonable person, what political party to them exists and they believe 100% with absolutely every message that they want to get across? Like, well, that's amazing. Did you just happen to find a party that exactly 100% matches your political ideology? Or are you being a little bit of a cuck and bending the knee just because you like being part of a party? Like, you know, like shit like that. So that is why we're in UKIP. We don't 100% agree with everything in it, but, you know, changes can be made.
Fair enough.
Cheers. So, a common sense guy, of course, as he said, it's our show. I'm sure you got something to say, but I really want to keep it to Coach. Let's remember too that Count Dankula doesn't answer for anybody but himself. But
I've never actually spoken to Dankula. Nice to meet you.
It's good to meet you, man.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Coach Red Pill. This is my brother, Count Dankula. I knew him before he was famous. Count Dankula. This is my friend, Coach Red Pill. He still ain't famous.
I've heard the coach before. Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, well, no, I think that it's really interesting. Well, it started, you guys joining UKIP, at least you, it started as a lark. I mean, you basically tweeted out that, you know, if this gets 10,000 retweets, I'm joining UKIP. And you got more than 10,000. I don't recall, or I don't know how many you actually got retweeted on that. And you joined, you know, that was pretty funny.
It did originally start as a meme and a troll. Like, see how the 10,000 retweets thing, I already intended to join. I just posted that tweet just to mine salt because I knew it would piss everyone off. And everyone was just sort of screeching like, oh, look at him just trying to get, you know, like fucking interactions and retweets from this. And I was like, yeah, that's the type of responses I was hoping for. Thank you. But like, it all started because weeks and weeks ago, I posted as a joke. Sometimes I'll post something just to piss people off. And I just posted thinking of joining UKIP. This was weeks and weeks ago. And it farmed a good bit of salt. People get annoyed by it. I brought it up with Sargon, and he's like, do you know what would be funny if we actually did it? And I was like, yeah. And so, like, and then it started as that. But then again, the best types of trolls and the best types of memes are the ones that could end up going on to accomplish something good. So, you know, might as well try and actually do some good while you're mining salt.
I'm not going to prime the pump too much, but I'm going to say this. I just watched number 38, Coach Red Pill and the Doctor. I can never remember his name. I've already made too many excuses for not remembering names. I'm just going to call it Coach Red Pill's stream for the time being. I'll leave a link below. Oh, no, it's this Common Sense Guy's channel. I'm sure he will, to show that I'm not being insolent. I don't want a blood sport. I know Common Sense doesn't want a blood sport. But, Coach, come clean. I have not witnessed. I've got to say this, Common Sense. Don't be upset with me, please. I'm going to blurt this. I have witnessed. Now, people say that Sargon is anti-Christian. I know he's not a Christian. As a Christian, I enjoy Sargon because I've never seen him go on any kind of rant about Christians are stupid or look at the Bible, take a shit on it or any of. He's not an evangelical atheist, is what I want to say, without taking up much more time. So, what I want to know is if there is something that is wrong with Dankula. And again, you can't answer Dank, and I'm not asking you to answer for Sargon, but if there's something wrong with Dankula or Sargon joining the UKIP, please explain it to an ignorant hillbilly that doesn't understand how it could be a bad thing that somebody with 900,000 subs, somebody like Dank that gets people, I mean, you go look at one of his live streams, somebody with this kind of, if they're not politically aligned with you, the question is, how could it be a bad thing? Excuse me, if they are politically aligned with you, if there's no political divide, let me make that clear. If they're politically aligned with you, forget about religion, philosophy, what kind of girl they like, whatever. If they're political, what could be wrong with that? And please, Coach, don't hold back. Let's not make this a blood sport, but Count Dankula's got the big shoulders, believe me.
Okay, what's your question? You're asking me a question.
My question is not, it really wasn't a question, it was a prodding. After watching that live stream,
I'll simplify it.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of people have different issues with why Count Dankula and other people of ilk have joined UKIP. Do you have any sort of such issues that you would like to address to Count Dankula as he's here?
Well, no, because first of all, I'm not a UK citizen, so whichever political party he chooses to join, I could never, by definition, join it. So it's not really my problem now, is it? It's not. What I do notice is that it seems that there seem to be some people within UKIP who are not pleased with the fact that this quartet of Milo, Sargon, Dankula, and Paul Joseph Watson have joined, and for different reasons. And one of the specific reasons was that the political optics insofar, especially of Sargon, are pretty horrible. And as a political matter, as just playing the game, and politics being a game of trying to convince the normies to vote for you, there are some people who seem to think within UKIP, who seem to think that it's a horrible thing for Sargon to be joining. Now, what do I think of that? Well, I gave a platform to one of them, and that's my position on that. Now, insofar as what Dankula chooses to do, what political party he chooses to join, that's his business. It would be as equally absurd as if Dankula started commenting on the fact of whether the political parties I join in Chile, for instance, what does he care what political party I join in Chile, right? So that's my thinking.
Okay, well, I've got as Count Dankula's here, I've got a question or two. Mine would be, was it just the reasons that it come up as an idea, first of all, as you said, to mine a bit of salt, or was there any sort of political underlinings that you had beforehand, or was it literally just salt mining and it's just escalated to joining?
Well, UKIP is a party that obviously, with Day for Freedom and all that type of stuff, I became more closely connected with them. We started talking to them and stuff like that. And one thing that I've really tried to avoid doing now is learning what other people think through word of mouth or the media. That's one thing that I've really tried to avoid doing. Like, obviously, some people have told me things about Coach Red Pill's politics and stuff like that. And that's the stuff I've heard it, but I'm not going to believe it until I actually hear it from the man himself.
I'm all in favor of barbecuing minority babies.
Well, and now let's now let's hear it, Coach.
No,
Hang
on
now. Don't make me look like a fool, because before we started this, you said something about, hang on now, brother. Before we started this, you said something about a little bit about, because we don't want any internet blood sports. So I was under the assumption that you had, at least regardless of where you're from. I'm not from everywhere, and I can have my own opinions. I wanted to hear it, and I wanted, believe it or not, I wanted Count Dankula to be able to stand up, because Mr. Meacham here could stand up for what he believes. So prod him, if you will, or I guess me and Common Sense Guy will take over and do that. But
I'm not going to get salty. Like, if anybody wants to challenge my beliefs and ideals, I've no issue.
No, the one thing I would, excuse me, you're gonna have to forgive me. I have something caught in my throat. Hang on.
he's choking. No, I'm just teasing. No, because I've got some questions too, Dank. Because man, I want to say this to you, mate. While he's thinking, because the catalyst was this, and you've got to pipe up here, Coach, or you'll owe me big.
Yeah.
Here it is. What do you really want to get involved in politics, mate? Do you really? Is this what's in your heart? Is anyone persuading you, Dank?
No, this was completely my own decision. I just decided at first it was definitely just a meme just to annoy people, but it's a case of it sort of snowballed, and then the more I got talking to people, I spoke to UKIP leaders. I've spoke to Gerard Batten. I had dinner with David Coburn just the other day and all that, and then after talking to them and all that type of shit, I was just sort of this could actually get developed into helping people. And then it's a case of right, okay, do I want to be funny and meme and take the piss and stuff like that, or do I want to be funny and meme and take the piss, but I ultimately turn that into helping people? And obviously, I'm morally, I'm a bit obligated to try and actually help people over trying to be funny.
No, that's right.
Thank you. I got to ask you something. The ad that you put out, where you announced that you joined UKIP, right?
Yeah.
It looked like you were mocking the party.
Oh no, that was just a mind salt from people. See, because people turn around and go, "Oh, self-professed free speech warrior," even though I've literally never said that about myself. That video there is the first time I've ever said that, which is why I said it totally sarcastically in the way that I did. And then I was also
but the thing is, see, from the point of view of normies, it sounded like you were making fun of UKIP. I mean, it came across as you were mocking them, and that quip, which is funny as hell, of you going the whole here are your shekels, thanks Israel. That's a bit from Murdoch, right?
No, I've only ever seen one episode of Murdoch, and it's the one that they had me in.
Okay.
But that fucking pissed me off, not because of the fucking racist comments in general of Murdoch. It's the fact that they gave me a fucking English accent. The motherfuckers.
Maybe it was on purpose. Maybe they were trying to mock you through that.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
But no, I mean, like, look, I mean, Dankula, you're a smart customer, right? You do realize, or you do notice that ad, it comes across as to normies, okay? To people like ourselves, like the four of us here who've been in the milieu longer. We all recognize that it's just, fucking around. But to normies, you would grant that it does come across as if it's mocking you, Kip.
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
Yeah, it does.
And wouldn't it be a fair statement to say that to normies, the shekels from Israel crack, it could be interpreted pretty negatively insofar as like being some sort of anti-Semitic signal or dog whistle, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, people have already tried that one. Reporters, even though reporters right now have been proper trying to attack me, like for the whole trying to.
I thought you tweeted out some shit from some reporters that were giving you shit. Yeah, but the point I'm trying to make is that isn't it like I mean, aren't you like goading the beast?
No, the reporters even dropped that. Like one reporter, that Will Sumner guy, the fucking absolute gimp from the Daily Beast, he tried to use that part as a gotcha. And the only thing that was funny is the bag that was placed in my hand was literally a bag containing literal shekels, and the guy and the guy who handed me it was my Jewish friend visiting me from Israel, right? And as soon as I told that to reporters and all that, like the reporters, notice how all reporters would be coming in their pants to go anti-Semitic joke. See, the instant I told them that part, not a single one of them mentioned it in the articles, even. Yeah. So like,
no, that's brilliant. Yeah. And I think also, Dank, as your Jewish friend, you get a Jew pass here on when it's on my channel and here with the Common Sense. I'm allowed to give you the Jew pass. I've taught my dog the trick we will not speak of until everything is settled. And I as a Jew that had two grandparents in Buchenwald, one that just didn't make it. I needed that laugh, so I don't want to dwell on that. Carry on now, Coach, because here's the thing. I guess I've got to ask one more time, Dank. You have a way. To me, bear with me, man. I ain't kissing your ass, so everybody can kiss my ass. I'm just going to tell you like I see it. You are the Scott.
Question to Coach, if you don't mind.
Yes, but you are the Scottish Donald Trump. You could do no wrong. You could get into this and do no wrong. You could get bags of shekels, sir. You could be a great politician.
Just the one of the purposes of the joke as well was I keep seeing people making room. Like I keep getting sent fucking threads from Paul of everyone going, he's controlled opposition, he's controlled by Mothra.
No, I know. I've known him since Gary Memes, man. The guy is not controlled opposition. He's a stoner from Glasgow. He's a Glaswegian that lost his job as a bouncer and now has to do this. So if you don't like what he's doing now, you shouldn't have got him fired as a bouncer, you faggots.
I just got a quick question before we carry on to Mr. Coach Redpill. If you, not you yourself, but if you think people are taking issue to the joke, doesn't that necessarily actually prove Count Dankula's point that the actual party that he's joined hasn't took issue with the joke, even though it's actually publicizing UKIP in itself? Doesn't that prove Count Dankula's point that it's a party of free speech?
Yeah, that's the thing is as well. See, I've noticed that most of the people that get attacked by the media are often the most realistic when it comes to the media as well. Like we get a lot of shit said about us. The alt-right gets a lot of shit said about them. The far right get a lot of shit said about them. Well, fucking everybody's far right and alt-right these days, apparently. You know, man. You know, I think the alt-right's numbers grew by the millions. You know, overnight in one Guardian article. But the problem with it is see, because UKIP are very like objective and realistic. Like, see how whenever the newspapers go, oh, tragedy, outrage, controversy, like everyone who has at any point been attacked by the media just goes, yeah, but is it really though? I'm gonna look into this for myself. And then they realize that it's all fucking nonsense and bullshit. And more people are starting to do that. Basically, the more people that the media goes after brings more people into our side. The media are losing. I mean, look what happened when we said we joined UKIP. They went into full fucking panic mode. And see what every lying article they put out, they're losing more and more control of the narrative, especially when we're all there to go, this is wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. And everyone's, even just now, are trying to still say that I'm far right and I'm alt-right. Now, the people that were involved in my trial was the police And no joke, one of the guys who was actually giving evidence at my trial was a cyber crimes intelligence operative from Scottish intelligence, right? You know, those same guys that try and catch pedophiles and terrorists that are using the internet to communicate. Now, if even they, and through my full 2-year investigation, couldn't find any evidence of me being far right or alt right, then what chance does the fucking Guardian have? Right? So like that's the thing, is the more and more lying articles they put out, the more and more people will see the liars, the more and more people will stop being normies and actually come over to our side. So I approve of what they're doing, and I hope they keep doing it.
Well, I'm not so sanguine as you insofar as that's concerned. I think that potentially a lot of the shit posting and all that, it's all, you know, funny and the shits and giggles of it, but politically, I don't think it's going to work. And there's a great difference between being a comedian and being a professional politician.
Yeah, just ask Donald Trump. There's a great difference between being a television star and being
hang on. I'll hang on this time. I want to have a serious conversation. You know,
I'm not going into this thinking that I'm going to run for something and I'm going to win. Like I'm not going into this thinking like that.
Then no, but a consultant or a spokesman, maybe a consultant or a spokesman. And when I say consultant, and coach, please, you know, everybody can think I'm crazy. I am fucking crazy. If anybody here knows it, it's Dankula outside of Common Sense Guy. I am fucking shithouse crazy. But when I think about the way that things are going now, I think that you have an antiquated view, coach, with all respect. I think you have an antiquated view. You're looking at this as politics of 20 years ago when we just had a self-admitted socialists win a district in New York, and you know I can't remember her name, Cortez. And now, so what are we saying? We're going to look at Dank now and say, well, Dank, because you cracked a fucking joke, or because you hit some grass, or because you punched somebody out, you know, whatever the thing is, you are now excluded from this hallowed realm. I will say this: maybe if he killed 20,000 innocent babies, everybody would vote for him tomorrow.
Okay, look. So, Ogre, let me ask you something. How do you win an election in a democracy?
That's a tough one, man. In fact, I think there's no formula, but you tell me.
No. It's
you get elected. You win the majority.
Well, yeah, you have to convince people to vote for you, right?
I'm not running for anything, though. That's
I don't want to go that way, but he's asking me. No, so let's do this. Let's do this, boys, because I'm a big part of the problem now. I don't know. Will you
boring conversation? It's going nowhere, and like, you know, I want to have like a real conversation and not like just spinning my wheels. If we're gonna have a real conversation, fine. Now the issue is here. You know, how do you win elections, right? And UKIP wants to win elections, right? So you win elections by unifying people, not by dividing them. Okay. Now, the thing about being a comedian, and I respect it, it's a hard gig. To be funny is very, very difficult. And I respect that. It's a craft that I certainly don't have. And anybody who does it successfully, you know, my hat's off to them. But the issue with the comedian is that a comedian pokes at things. And by poking at things, you laugh at it, but also it sort of like pisses you off. And a lot of times it pisses off the things that you're poking at. Okay? And so that automatically starts dividing people. Okay, and that's the nature of comedy. You know, comedy it's not good if it's not offending or stepping on somebody's toes, right? I mean, Dankula, you know that better than anybody. If you're not like stepping on somebody's
toes. But Dankula, are you a comedian? I guess
I talk.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, I'm trying to make a point, but if you don't want me to talk, I won't talk. Okay, you make up your mind. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that if you want to join a political party and have that party be effective, you can't be stepping on people's toes and pissing them off. Especially not the people in the party, okay? Especially when you're, you know, as you join a party, you start flinging shit at the people in the party. It doesn't work that way, you know? And I know for a fact that people who are in UKIP, and look, Dankula, I like you. I like your material. I think it's great. But the spot that you did of you joining UKIP, people in UKIP fucking hated it, you know? And you know, that's a fact. I'm not making this shit up, you know? And so the issue becomes, you know, if you're going to join a political party, more power to you. I mean, all good. I'm not saying anybody shouldn't join a political party, but you see the point I'm trying to make here, that comedy steps on people's toes. That's what makes comedy good. But politics, it's essentially sort of like kissing those toes, if you will. It's making nice with people and getting them all behind you. You get them behind you either by making nice with all of them or pointing at some external enemy and saying, look at him, let's all go get him, But stepping on toes, especially if it's the toes of the people you're joining, I don't think that that's very effective, politically speaking. But that's just an opinion.
This is the thing as well. The people who are in UKIP, no matter what I say or make fun of UKIP, they're still going to vote UKIP at the end of the day. Like, if I run for a position in UKIP, which, let's face it, is most likely, in fact, probably definitely not going to happen, right? Internal party members vote on that shit, which means if I ever did that, then they might not like me and might not vote for it, and I'm fine with that. But at the end of the day, these guys are all going to vote for UKIP. And also as well, whenever you're in a political party, you need to get certain people to try and go after a certain target demographic. The guys that are in UKIP just now, obviously, it's the older, more conservative crowd that they mainly go after, right? That's their audience. They know how to speak to them. They know how to bring them on board. That's what they do. My job is obviously to aim for the younger audience, the people who are woke, not normies and stuff like that as well. They deal with the normie side, I deal with my side. They might not like me, I might not like them, but at the end of the day, both of us, we don't need to like each other because we're all party members. So at the end of the day, we're all going to vote UKIP anyway. What matters is the voters. I please a certain demographic, they please a certain demographic. As long as we're not interfering with each other's demographic, then it'll be fine. If I piss off people in the party, it doesn't matter. They're part of the party. They're going to vote for the party they're a part of.
But what if you piss them off enough that they leave the party?
Nah, I don't think. Well, that's on them. I can't control other people's opinions and stuff like that. If it'd be a bit.
If you turn it down and don't step on people's toes and make fun of the party that they are part of, yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, if I make a little bit of fun of someone and they go, "Oh, I'm quitting," then that's just fucking immaturity on their part.
Well, yeah, but I mean, okay, so they're immature, but still they're quitting, right? And it could have been avoided, right?
Immature people wouldn't be good for the party in the first place, would they?
Well, come on. I mean, you're saying that immature people aren't good for the party. I mean, I don't want to point out the obvious, Count. Right?
Well, we wouldn't want people to actually, like, if people want to be part of the party and actually help, then I would expect them to be men of conviction. Then they would want to actually be able to truck through all manners of shit in order to bring what's best for the party and not just totally drop everything and run away from it because someone said something mean to them. That's not, don't need that type of spinelessness in a political party.
It's an issue of saying something mean to them. It's mocking them. That's very different.
Yeah, I know, but mocking them isn't as bad then as saying something mean to them.
I mean, Oh, it wasn't it Sargon himself when he said that everybody was acting like a bunch of white N-words that said that I want a modicum of decorum. I should be treated with a little bit of respect. Well, that's a fairly typical attitude of old farts like myself. Middle-aged farts and middle-aged farts that sign the checks and keep parties like UKIP running. How smart is it to antagonize, the older demographic that's got the checkbooks that are keeping the place, the lights on and the salaries paid? You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about like on a practical political level. Okay, I'm not talking like because this is the reality. This is grown-up world. This isn't shits and giggles and having a laugh. This is like political reality. A party has to be funded. A party needs big donors, and it needs the middle-aged, fuddy-duddies who can deliver the checks for the party to get, keep operating. That's the political reality of it. That happens to every party and every political organization in the world.
There's some elements of the party that I might make fun of, but there's other elements of the party that I support. Like, for example, they're militantly against Article 13. I uploaded a video just today in full support of them, actually encouraging.
Yeah, but you just said that you'd be willing to make fun of people in your own party.
Yeah, I would.
You would.
Yeah, I would.
So you'd be okay with making fun of people in your own party
if they say something stupid? Yeah.
Amen.
Okay, I mean, I just gotta, dude, Dankula, do you have any idea what you're saying? You know how antagonistic that sounds to people within your own party?
You said you did know Dank. I mean, I'm gonna let him answer himself, but you do know the guy, right?
Yeah,
I don't think that's like his first concern, but go ahead, Dan.
It's kind of what I do. I usually challenge the things people say and expose how stupid they are by making fun of them. That's often what you do with stupid comments that people make.
Okay.
You know, but people have done that. People have done that for years throughout politics.
Yeah, but let me ask you something. Do you think that is a recipe for continued membership in a party, to making fun of the members of that very party? Do you think that they're really going to do that?
It's not going to be completely unwarranted. I'm not just going to, go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, you, and then say, make a joke and like just attack that person for absolutely no reason. If someone turns around and says some dumb shit, I'm going to tell them that they've said some dumb shit. And one thing they actually can often do is see if someone does some dumb shit that discredits the party, and then the party are seen to turn around to that person and go, stop saying dumb shit. That actually gains you approval from voters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll look forward to your tenure at UKIP, Dankula.
Oh no, I agree with you. It's probably not going to last long. Like I'm not sitting here going, yeah, this is me forever. Nothing's going to happen. I'm not going to get kicked out at some point, or I'm not eventually going to piss someone off. That's most likely what's going to happen. It's politics, man. It's an inevitability.
Then why did you join?
So somebody had to do something instead of just screeching on Twitter.
Yes.
Yep.
And I would say that maybe
mimetic warfare only goes so far.
Maybe there's a little ground also, gentlemen. And I did talk a lot. I mean, I am excited. I mean, to have these guys on with two varying viewpoints. I, as I said, respect them both, but disagree with one more than the other. So I'm a little excited. But when we think about this, I mean, look, Coach, I'm not going to call it an ad hom, but why do we have to look at it as childish? Why can't we look at it as a new way of looking at things? I, as an old man, I'm 43. I have to think about it now. I'm so old. 44 in August. And I mean, isn't it time that I realize that the mantle is being passed to the Count Dankulas? Anybody that thinks I look at everything this man does and goes, oh, yeah, that's no. In fact, Dank, I love you, man, but you know me. I'm going to tell the truth. A lot of the shit you do, I look at and go, holy fuck. I mean, I smack my face so hard they can hear it next door. But is it something? Okay, this is the question.
Okay, well,
is it bad to shake it up? Is it bad to shake it up?
No, there's nothing wrong with shaking it up. But let's look at somebody like this kid who won yesterday, the primary in New York, or the day before yesterday, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, right? Okay, so she's a socialist, right? How'd she win? By being fucking disciplined. That's how she fucking won. By going out there, pounding the pavement, and getting the people to vote for her. I mean, pounding, knocking on doors, door after door, and staying on point, on message, and not stepping on toes and pissing people off. I mean, she is a fucking commie. Okay, I'm not like on her side insofar as the politics is concerned, but you got to admire her because this chick, she was on point, disciplined. She didn't piss off people, okay? If she got them angry or emotional, it was directed towards her opponent, okay? She was smart, okay? She played the political game, disciplined, on point, on message all the time, 24/7, okay? She's the future, okay? That kind of retail politics and that kind of socialist message, because my thinking is that socialists like her, they're on the rise. They're going to be a whole shit ton of socialists in the midterms because they're going to tend to win. Socialists are very hard leftists, okay, in the next elections over the next few years, because a lot of people in the middle classes are just completely disenfranchised economically, and the wealth disparity and the income disparity is so great that I think a lot of people are going to just start to turn towards the socialists because they'll think correctly that at least the socialists are talking about their problems. None of the mainstream political parties are talking about them. That's why Trump won. That's why this chick won. And I'm not Ogre. You say that I don't understand new politics. I fucking do understand it, and I do understand. Politicians. Hang on, can I please finish? Christ, Jesus. And I'm not unsympathetic to a new form of doing politics, okay? But what I am saying, and I'm very sympathetic to the fact that these new politicians are actually talking about the problems affecting people and not these Clintonistas and establishment politicians who don't say shit about what's actually going on in the lives of people who just, live in La La Land, and they're London and New York, a cellar corridor of bubbles, right? I'm not unsympathetic to this new breed, but what I am saying is that if Dankula is joining a party, well, then he's just going to have to be disciplined like this chick, Ocasio-Cortez. That's how you win, unless you're just joining Dankula just to fool around, just as a lark. If it's a lark, if it's just for fun, and you don't really care about politics, and it's just, I'm a UKIP member, but it's a laugh and that's that. Oh, then is that it? Is that why you joined the party?
I did say earlier, a full admission that it did initially start as a lark, but then I would obviously use it to do some good. Obviously, you not like the fact that I would attack members within my own party, but you do realise that the vast majority of the content that I produce would be aimed at opposing parties because they're the people that I disagree with the most. And when it comes to saying some dumb shit, then they take the cake. So my attention would be primarily focused on them and discrediting them due to their arguments.
Okay, so what happens if somebody in your party does say something stupid? As inevitably they will. What, you're going to throw shit their way too?
Yes. But if someone says dumb shit that I don't agree with politically, then I'll turn around. I'm not going to turn around and be a cuck to my own party and just go, oh, I'm just going to have to agree with this guy because we're in the same gang. We're wearing the same bandanas. Like, no, like if they say some dumb shit, I'm going to call them out on it. Especially if the shit that they say actually discredits the party as a whole. Like, for example, people try and come after us because we want to ban the burqa. The reason I want the burqa banned is because it is a security risk. Terrorist suspects have actually used the burqa to escape the country. Mm-hmm. That's why I have an issue with the burqa. But if someone turns around and goes, I want to ban all cultural dress, that's when I'll go, well, you can just shut up then, you fucking retard. Right? That's when I've got an issue. Right? So if someone turns around and says some dumb shit like that, then I will call them out on it, especially because if someone who was a member of the party that did say dumb shit like that, then that's going to cause like a media fucking field day. And trust me, they're looking for anything that they can get right now. So if anybody starts spewing shit like that, in order to save face for the party, I'm going to attack them for it.
Okay, gentlemen, give me just 10 seconds. It's not on this topic. Just very quickly. Keep what you're going to say. Coach, you say what you're going to say. Just keep it a head mark. Nothing to do with this. Just relax. It has nothing to do with it. Just relax.
I'm trying to have a conversation here.
Before we go on, I just want to let y'all know that when we end, we always have a last word. So if you've got to cut out Coach or Count Dankula, let us know before so that we can have that nice sound bite of you uninterrupted saying whatever you want to say. It could be about this topic or anything else. That's all I want to say. Carry on, Coach.
Well, it'd be great, fuck, man. Okay, so Sargon of Akkad said recently that he was going to ban all faith-based schools. Okay, so isn't that a stupid statement? Are you going to call that out?
Ban faith-based schools.
Yeah, he said that on the Kevin Logan stream. If you want, I can play it for you.
Okay, that's a great idea. In fact, the British is the first person I ever heard say that. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Oh yeah, ban Catholic schools.
No, faith-based. In other words, where the government. Let's be clear about what faith-based is. It's where the government pays for the school. So if you want to have a faith-based school that the Catholic Church pays for, and then the people that go there, it's a parochial school kind of deal in America. You pay for them to go to whatever school. That's fine. But the government paying for a mosque that has a school, I think that should be.
I think that I am not. Then I am not clear because I understood this to mean basically any faith-based school, be it of any religion.
Not at all. No, you can have any school you want. The government just won't fund it. Wait, what that means.
Is that? Do you know that this is what was meant specifically? Is there a difference?
Well, I don't know. I can't speak for Sargon. I can only speak for the Britisher and from what I know about this.
I feel agree with that statement.
Dankula is actually British, so he would be the person I'd like to get the answer from. Faith-based schools, is that state-supported faith-based schools?
Yes, there's in Scotland especially, they are faith-based. We have a huge issue with sectarianism, especially in Scotland. We actually have schools that are segregated based on religion. We have Catholic schools and Catholic schools and Protestant schools. And there's obviously a hell of a lot of us and them mentality. Basically, we've had a lot of problems with Catholics versus Protestant violence for decades. But in regards to that, governments, I feel, should be completely non-secular. I don't feel they should have any funding or anything like that in regards to religion themselves. If religious institutions themselves want to set up a completely faith-based school out of their own funding. Well, this is capitalism, baby. You can do that if you want, right? You're completely free to do that, but the government won't give you any funding. But however, I'm still fine with certain regulations being placed on the schools in regards to like health and safety. They would still need to abide by all of those laws.
Okay, well, that's a side issue, because I wanted the issue was not really faith-based schools, but the issue was, what if one of your friends says something stupid? Are you going to call him out?
Yeah, I do that all the fucking time.
Yeah, and publicly, and just say, that's really fucking stupid?
Well, do you mean publicly, like if we're sitting in a bar with drinks in our hand and he says something dumb, do I call him out on it, or do you mean on Twitter or YouTube, or what do you mean?
Twitter, YouTube, the social media platforms.
Yeah, I do.
You would? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Good to know.
That was the thing, is like when Tommy Robinson fucked up with the whole Ali Dawah situation, everyone goes, oh, why don't you attack Tommy? Why don't you attack Tommy Robinson? And it's like, yeah, I don't make videos and I don't tweet at him because the motherfucker's literally physically standing right next to me. And like, if I've got a problem, I just need to turn my head and say so. Like that's the thing, is like, see how most of the people that I talk to, like, we talk on Skype, we talk on Discord, we sit in voice chats together. If I have an issue, I bring it up to them then. Like, there's other people who don't follow me on Twitter, don't talk to me, don't have any form of contact with me, which is why if I want to disprove one of their points that they said, I need to do it in a YouTube video, or I need to tweet it at them, which obviously is a lot more public than a private voice chat.
Yeah, but like, for instance, with Will, whatever the journalist from the Daily Beast was called, you know, you had direct communication with the guy, right? So why did you have to post all your emails with him on Twitter?
Because I wanted the public to see how snaky he was being. I wanted everyone to see how dishonest he was actually being.
Would you do the same with one of your confreres?
Yeah, but none of them have ever done anything quite like Will did.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. None of them have ever came at me with this like nicey face to try and like extort something from me. Like that's one thing that really fucks me off. But like, nobody's. I've had a few people attempt it, mostly fucking lefties on Twitter. They come up to me with like this whole nicey sort of fucking attitude when it's clear that they're just trying to get gotchas and all that type of shit. But none of the people that I actually speak to within my circle approach me in such a way, so there's never been any need for me to do that. And if anybody within my circle actually tried to do that to me, then they wouldn't be my friend for much longer.
No, but what if they said something stupid, something politically just really stupid that hurts the cause?
Yeah, that's a different thing from what Will did. Will came up to me, approached me like very, very dishonestly. If it's a friend who just like blurted out something stupid, then yeah, I would challenge them on it.
Now you can talk over it.
No, he's just stepped out for a couple of seconds. I thought that was actually a really decent conversation. Do we have anything else that we would like to talk about? Or do you want to talk about different topics, or should we carry on in the same vein? I'm not too bothered.
I'm kind of like interested in what's going on in the UK. I understand that the rumor is that there's going to be like a fucking second referendum. What the fuck? And insofar as Brexit is concerned,
yeah. The fucking see the establishment. They fucking.
Hello. Did I drop out, or did you guys?
No, we're still here. I think something might have happened with Count Danker. That's all. He might have just done something to his microphone. But yeah, they're literally trying to push this idea that we need to have a second referendum, which is the idea of a second referendum on the outcome of the deal. So even if we did actually have the second referendum on the deal, they're literally destroying the idea of having any deal from the EU, which is just trying to push this idea of having no deal anyway, because they try to think that if we have no deal and they vote against whatever deal is there, then Brexit will stop.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, what happened?
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there. I just my internet just sort of went fucking wonky there. I'm back now. Sorry.
That's fine, mate. If you want to take a hold again, you know what the question was. Carry on, my friend.
Yeah, basically the establishment and the powers that be just absolutely fucking hate the fact that Brexit happened, and they are literally trying to overturn a democratic vote. at this point. We voted for Brexit. They absolutely hate it because even though it does overall benefit the population, it doesn't benefit the elite. So they're doing everything they can to prevent it from happening. Or like, we'll strike a deal where it's a case of we still have all of the bad shit that comes out of the EU.
I think his internet is going to keep on dropping out.
Oh, that's annoying. No, I think
Sorry,
that
I don't know what the fuck happened.
don't worry about it.
He may be back. Just carry on if you want to, Coach.
Yeah. No, I'm just hear this side chat message. What's this shit? Coach, go when he is done. Dank, kick his ass.
Yeah, you're an hour late, mate. When he was done, Dank kick his ass was just a nudge to him to start talking as soon as you were done. I've known Dank a little bit better than you. If you want to bring that out in the open, it means absolutely nothing. But go ahead and talk, Dank.
No, it was just.
I think you were the one that mentioned internet blood sports before the chat. But anyway, Dank's back. So if you want to carry on.
Yeah, it's just a case.
So what exactly is this supposed to mean?
I just explained it. I said, Coach, you go when he's done. This is, if you look at the time, this is a long time ago. This is here for you to see. It's nothing I wanted to hide. If you want everyone else to see it, Dank kick his ass. You were saying, you were calling him childish at the time, and throwing ad hominems around to a guy that I think is trying to explore a new. This isn't about me, but I will answer it. You were throwing ad hominems around and to a guy that was basically trying, in my opinion, a new. Hang on now. You said that you wanted me to let you continue. Now, would you let me continue? So what I'm trying to tell you is that a gentleman is trying a new way of politics, something that really goes right to Cortez, who you cited, that was stepping on everyone's toes. We just have a gentleman that says, no, if there's someone in the party that I disagree with, I'm going to step on their toes too. I don't know, man. So if you read some into that, Coach, read whatever you want. I'm sure that if you were more silent, I would have said, kick his ass, Coach, or get in there, Coach, gouge him, Coach, or whatever. And if you want me to, I'll say that now. So, Coach, kick his ass. Do you have something else?
I don't know what your agenda is. You know, I'm not interested. I mean, I feel that there's
agenda,
something.
We had you on here to talk about. We had you on here to talk about immigration. And my agenda was that, and you wanted to talk to Dank, so I sent it out as you requested.
No, as you said,
internet blood sports. We didn't want we just wanted a conversation. So that's the agenda. So I think Dank might have been right in the middle of something before the internet cut him off.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's. I'm hoping I don't get fucking caught off again. Fucking stupid Highland gypsy room in middle of nowhere, fucking internet. But like, the point was, I'll try and remember where I was. The elite absolutely hate the fact that Brexit happened because even though it benefits the people, it doesn't benefit them. So they are manipulating the media, trying to turn it around and go, Brexit was a bad thing. It's going to damage the country. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. Well, it's a case of, no, we want to become our own independent nation again. We don't want our laws being made by foreign bodies who get to fish our waters, decide our legislation, decide this, decide that, and then they actually get to go, you need to take this many refugees, you need to do this, you need to do that, and if you don't do these things that we're telling you to do, then you're going to suffer the consequences, just like the EU is trying to do Poland, Czech Republic, and Hungary now. You know, they're bullies, essentially. Do what we fucking want, or you're going to face the consequences. Well, how about go fuck yourself? How about go and fuck yourself then, right? So we want to become our own independent nation where we get to decide our own trade deals, we get to fish our own waters, we are in charge of our own laws because the European Union doesn't take into account cultural differences in any way. A law that might be effective in one place will completely fall flat in its face and be deeply resented in another culture. Right, they're trying to. This is I don't know. I'm preaching to the choir. I know everybody knows here what the EU is really trying to do, but that's just the whole point.
Well, no, I thought that the EU was our friend. That they only want to help us and help us see the light of the beauty of European multiculturalism. Isn't that what they're trying to do?
Coach, how fucking dare you? Diversity is our strength.
Yeah.
When our fucking Christmas markets look like military bases. Like fucking hell.
I was in Hungary in just before Christmas, right? And you know, it was so weird. You know, I'm walking around Budapest, right, and like the Christmas markets and shit. No police, nobody with an assault weapon, and none of those whatchamacallit, those what do you call those concrete blocks to prevent the vans of peace?
Just barricades.
No, we call those Allahu Akbar barriers.
Yeah. Allahu Akbar barriers. Yeah.
Hey, Coach, no offense, man. I even sent you some in the side chat. The side chat is for personal use. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, mate. And I was trying to stir the pot. I just wanted to hear you and Dankula go at it. I do not have a favorite in this other than wanting our viewers to see something.
Like going after, quote unquote, going after Dankula, because there's nothing to go after him. And Dankula, and I'm going to characterize you, and you correct me if I'm wrong. Dankula is a comedian, and he's a very funny one, okay, and very insightful, okay. And what happened to him, insofar as you know, the 2 years of his legal process is just unconscionable, you know. And I think that, frankly, I think that Dankula got really fucking lucky that there was so much media attention, because I think that the judge really wanted to throw him in the slammer for like a couple of years at least, and that there was so much media attention was exactly the reason why he only walked away with a fine. Which I understand, Dankula, that you're appealing. Good on you. Yeah, I mean, on the principle of the thing, I would definitely appeal it. Because it was bullshit. It was so obviously, you know, it's just a joke. And I think that it was unconscionable that they would drag you through that kind of shit for 2 years, because it's just a fucking joke, you know. And it was very amusing. And so what? And in the joke, well, okay, we've gone over that. I mean, you've heard it till ad nauseum, I'm sure. So, and I am fully in agreement with that. So I don't have a problem with Dankula. I think Dankula, though, that, see, a comedian such as yourself, you know, and between being funny and winning votes, there is a very large divide.
No, there is. There absolutely is. Yeah.
Okay, you'd agree with me. Okay.
Yeah.
And what I was saying about Ocasio-Cortez is that she was on point. And to be a great comedian, you can't be on point. You can't be watching what you say all the time. You got to cut loose. I mean, that's the whole point of being a comedian, right?
Yeah.
It serves different purposes. And so my thinking is that, you know, look, I mean, I wish you well in whatever you endeavor to do. And if you decide to go into UKIP, good on you, you know. I mean, I don't care one way or the other, but what I do think is just, you know, how effective will you be? And you yourself think that you're going to get kicked out eventually? Is that I understood you correctly?
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me, because like the thing is, like, I think what people need to understand, and people are starting to do this more now, is differentiating when I'm on stage with a microphone in my hand, I'm going to be very different and say very different things, and especially like in my videos as well, right? So, for example, if I was talking at a UKIP event, I would state my actual politics. I would throw the odd jokes in, but not the jokes I would really make. Like, for example, one of the jokes I made when I was performing at Conway Hall, I was making fun of this Everyday Feminism article. It was like 10 questions that you should ask on the first date. You know, what every feminist should ask her date, right? And one of the questions was, do you believe that Black Lives Matter? And when I was on stage, I says, well, that's a very bold statement. I'd like to see some supporting evidence first, right? so, obviously, when I'm on stage, I would make such jokes. But if I was speaking at a political event, I would never make a joke like that, right? So I would be, if I was speaking at a political event, I would turn around and go, I'm going to be very real right now about my politics. I'm going to be very real, and I wouldn't say jokes like that, right? So obviously, see, if I'm on stage, people know that comedians kind of make stuff up, fluff stuff up, try and ruffle a few feathers. That's what they do. For people that know comedy and like comedy, they know that the comedians do stuff like that on purpose. But if I was speaking at a political event, which I might be in Birmingham at the UKIP summit in September, maybe that's not been confirmed yet. But if I'm on stage,
I had to hear first.
Yes.
I don't
say that
know.
again. Dankula, say that again, just because, like you said, you heard it first. What's going to be happening, Dankula? Would you like to say that?
It's the UKIP summit in Birmingham. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be I'm going to be attending, but like if I'm going to be speaking or not, like that's not being confirmed. So
the date, sir, the date.
Oh, when is it? That'd be
okay. All right, no pressure, no pressure. I've already been an asshole. I'm going to get chewed out by my co-host later. Believe it. So, you know, I don't want to. I hate to interrupt again, but I got to do it, man. I got in trouble last time. But listen, we have a final word. It's so important to me for both Coach and Dankula to have it, and for us to get the sound bites. So just please remember, gentlemen, before you do bugger out, and I hope it's not too soon. We've got about another 40 minutes on the actual show, and you can stay as long as you'd like. Just give us that. If you have to go, let us know, and we will be silent and have your last word. Once again, it could be about anything, something we talked about today, something we talked about yesterday, whatever is on your mind, anything you want to say. Thank you, gentlemen, once again. And please excuse me. I call myself the Laughing Ogre for a reason. If you can't figure it out, I'm sorry.
And who goes first? Like,
are we supposed to do the final word right now?
No. Sorry, I'm going to shut up again. Yeah, I'm really in trouble now. Let's just not bugger off before we get to that.
Dankula, have you been following the U.S. politics over this whole Kennedy retirement thing, the Justice Kennedy thing? I don't know if you're familiar with it.
See, because I've been so caught up in the whole UKIP thing over the last week or so, I've not looked into it. No.
Oh, okay. Well, Ogre would know this, and a common sense guy. I figure you'd be up to speed on this. Basically, this Supreme Court justice, there are 9 of them, right? And the swing vote is this guy called Kennedy, and no relation to the Kennedy family. And he is retiring. He's like about 1,000 years old, right? And so he's retiring, and Trump is going to get to nominate the replacement, right? And the left had a complete and utter meltdown. It was fucking funny. I mean, man.
What?
You
my God, it was so hilarious. Tweets? Did you read some of the tweets?
Oh yeah, I mean, do you have any handy? I actually don't have.
Oh, you just keep talking. I'll look them up, sir. I promise.
No, yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's some guy was saying, "I weep today, and the light has gone out of my life."
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. I've seen that. What was it? What was the other one that says, "I don't know what we should do. Should we don our Nazi uniforms or start marching towards
that one? That one.
Hell, man! Like.
I saw that tweet and I thought to myself, you know, I mean, a concentration camp uniform, you know, that's kind of dingy, but you know, a nice Hugo Boss SS uniform, I'm down. I can go there. Yeah, why not? You know, nice black with, you know, silver piping. You know, I'm sharp, you know, what the fuck?
Better start blowing the dust off those fash boots.
Yeah, I'll screen share some of these, gentlemen. We have. I
thought I'm from Chile, and I thought that Pinochet was a good deal. You know, so I'm down with it. You know, I mean, you're asking the wrong fucking guy, man. But. I thought it was just absurd. Okay, this whole notion that we're about to become fascists because of some fucking Supreme Court justice. I mean, it's just the hysteria of the left is just. On the one hand, I find it frankly awe-inspiring. I cannot quite believe that people can work themselves up into that kind of frenzy over political ephemera or trivia, because you know, with all due respect to this justice, the fact that he's retiring is of trivial historical importance. He's just one more guy who's going to retire. Nothing's really going to change. Okay,
I don't know about that. I don't know about the reason why I say that is because he was always the swing voter, as you quite rightly pointed out at the beginning, especially when it comes to legalizing gay marriage, where it comes to talking about abortion rights and things like that. He was the swing vote. In every occasion.
Yeah, yes, he was. And that would mean that in future cases, which will take several years, if not decades, to be litigated, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe there will be some slight variation in some of these laws. But overall, they're fairly trivial. They're trivial in the scheme of things. Nobody's really advocating for, say, the outlawing of homosexual practices or something like that, or the policing of people's sexual behavior. That's never going to get in front of the Supreme Court. You know, it's going to be, you know, just little shit here and there. And for instance, on the abortion issue, which is the one that they're really freaking out about. Well, look, I've looked at the abortion issue kind of closely over the years. And the fact of the matter is the Roe v. Wade decision was a horrible decision. I mean, on its face, it was a badly written decision. And it was also a bad decision in the sense that the Supreme Court should never have stuck itself in an issue that is properly legislative, because it really is an issue of the public will as to which states wanted to be pro-abortion and which ones wanted to be pro-life. You know, and this idea of the Supreme Court dictating for the entire country, that's why that issue has been such a big deal in the United States over the decades. It's that
it's not a very fair side of the government, is it? It's not a very fair side of government. Is that what you're saying, Coach? They have too much power.
No, it's that they legislated. That's what happened with Roe v. Wade, because the issue of abortion is an issue of personal morality and social morality, if you will, and different parts of the United States think differently on that particular issue. And so it was.
Parts of the world think differently on that.
I beg your pardon?
I said different parts of the world think differently on that.
Yeah, of course. And very reasonable people can be on both sides of the argument, okay? So the issue is that the Supreme Court legislated in that decision when they never should have. They never should have touched that decision. They should have sent it back to the lower courts and have the legislatures of each state and eventually the federal government make a decision, but not legislate for the entire country. That was an overreach of the Warren Burger Supreme Court, okay? The Warren Burger was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court during the time of the Roe v. Wade, and they were known for a lot of heavy activism at the time.
Yes.
But anyway, that's just boring. I mean, it's like
well, I don't know if it's boring. It's because it's a good segue into the fact that, I mean, you're kind of skirting it, but, and again, you may not be, you know, I don't know if you're an American citizen or not, but when I think about it, legislation from the bench, man, I mean, that's what we're fighting against. And it's a shame that there was no crazy reactions. And maybe it is boring. So I'll just realize
the fact of the matter is that Kennedy was in favor of the bench acting like a legislature. And the more conservative Supreme Court justices are very much opposed to that. They're not going to be up for the Supreme Court trying to usurp the power of the legislature. The legislature has to deal with certain political issues that it's not. No Supreme Court should be forced to deal with them. You know, they're issues for the legislator. And Kennedy was in favor of an activist Supreme Court, and I personally, as a conservative, am very much opposed to that. I think if we're in a democracy, then fucking argue it democratically and have a political debate and a political vote. But don't leave it up to a bunch of old men to decide the fate of everybody. No, that's just a dictatorship by committee. I don't want that. I don't think anybody would want that.
No, you're completely correct. Why should 9 people have all of the power, whether it is higher people or whatever? If it's a democracy, even if it's a democratic republic, it should still be done by the people of that democratic republic, rather than 9 people in a box. Yeah,
that's my opinion on that whole thing. So, Dankula, tell us about this thing in September. You're going to go and crack jokes at some UKIP meeting?
Well, I don't know. Like, I'm going to be attending most likely.
Your check's in the mail, Coach. Nice segue.
I'm going to be attending, but I don't know if I'm going to be speaking. Like, I have no idea. Someone did mention it to me, but then they were like, "Oh, well, we'll let you know." So, like, that type of thing. So I don't know, but I will be in attendance because it'll be good to just sort of go down and have a chat. You know, if they want me to talk, I'll talk, but I'll need to see, because my crowd need to be the internet savvy crowd to get the memes. You know, UKIP aren't going to get Pinochet memes or anything like that. So, like, I probably won't be able to do my usual comedy sort of routine. Just if you old man.
if you piss Coach off too much, he'll take you up in the elevator and throw you out, man. Yeah, that's what they did there.
Yeah, if you start mimicking a helicopter noises, they're not going to get the meme.
Yeah. But, no, I think it's like, you're a Christian, right? You're a Christian, right? Well, I prayed once.
No, like, let me ask you, a common sense and Dankula. I mean, I lived in the UK for about a year. Okay, well, I lived in London, which is not the UK, admittedly.
Definitely not the UK.
Yeah, definitely not the UK. But understand, yeah. I was fucking shocked by that goddamn city, but that's for another conversation. The question I want to ask you, both you Brits, right, is this: what the fuck happened to your country? Because, you know, the Brits back when I was growing up, they were, you know, they were people to be taken seriously. I just discovered, I learned today, I had no idea that you cannot criticize homosexuality today, it's against the law. Is that accurate?
Yeah, basically the moniker for hate speech, the Overton window for that has been completely shifted. It used to be hate speech laws used to cover incitement to violence, so like actual incitement, which I'm still fine with. I'm still fine if someone goes, yeah, go kill that guy, or we should kill these people, or we should attack these people physically, then yeah, that's incitement. I'm fine with that being illegal. That's fine.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a case of now, if I turn it around and hold out insults, it's basically now just insulting terms like, you know, if I say about the LGBT community, I think it's disgusting, it's horrible, you know, it's a completely disgraceful way of life, blah, blah,
Careful,
blah.
careful.
No, like sarcastically, obviously. I'm just saying this for the sake of argument. I can be arrested for that. Basically, saying things that now hurt people's feelings can actually get you arrested and landed in prison.
Well,
like we literally, I swear to God, this actually just happened. There's even a video of her arrest. The police were hammering on her door. She's a girl called Based Amy. And she is a regular at Speaker's Corner in London, so she's part of the free speech movement. She basically is a bit of a troll. Whenever Muslims were speaking, she would stand next to them and eat a bacon sandwich. She's one of them, right? But what ended up happening was the police were banging on her door, demanding she open the door. She's like in her 50s, you know, she lives on her own. She was quite rightly terrified. And she didn't know if it was the police or people trying to invade her home, so she didn't open the door, and she was recording the entire thing. She managed to open the door, realised it was the cops. As soon as she opened the door, they grabbed her, wrestled her down, pinned her arms, and all this type of shit, you know, like she was some crazy, violent lunatic, right? And it turned out that the reason that she was arrested and charged with hate crime is because in a car park, she said to someone, "Have a gay day."
I thought the definition of gay was happy back in the day.
Yeah, that was obviously the intent in which it was made, but obviously a little bit tongue in cheek, right? And that's what ultimately she got arrested for. We even had a guy who was arrested because he was tweeting things about migrants, where he was saying, "Oh, well, not migrants, refugees." Who are still migrants. If you leave a country to your neighbouring country, you're still a refugee. If you decide to keep going for economic reasons, then you're a migrant. Sorry. But ended up, guy was talking about refugees going, oh, they steal, they rape, they blah, 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 like all this other stuff as well. And he got arrested for those tweets. No incitement, no encouraging violence, just saying insulting, still ignorant, but insulting things. And he got arrested for that. We also had the girl in Liverpool as well who got arrested, charged with hate crime. She got a fine and also got a tag, which is like a GPS tracker attached to the ankle, because she posted rap lyrics on her Instagram.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Hey, that old lady did incite violence, man. Look what them cops did to her.
It's like the husband beating his wife. Look what you made me do.
They beat the fuck out of her. I mean, look what she did.
Yeah,
Bitch.
well, I heard that
Bloody bitch.
the girl who posted the rap lyrics, it was because of some like dead friend or something like that.
It was a kid who lived in like the same area as her who was knocked down by a car and he was killed. And I think that song, that was like, I can't remember exactly, but I think that song was like
his favorite song, wasn't it?
It was his favorite song, yeah. So she posted that as like a nice little remembrance, and she got charged for it.
Jesus Christ, man. Well, okay, then, isn't that justifiable when I say what the fuck is going on with the UK?
Oh, the UK is spiraling right now, man, especially with the free speech laws. But the thing that's quite funny, and I keep warning people, see, because the laws right now are extremely subjective. Very subjective. What is hate speech? What is incitement? Blah blah blah. Basically, the police love a nice big grey area because then they can execute a double standard. For example, a woman in her 50s saying "have a gay day," can be wrestled to the ground by police and dragged out of her home and all that stuff and arrested. But you can get people like posting tweets that literally say white people can get it. Fuck white people. We need to start rising up against white people, and absolutely nothing happens.
Yeah.
Right, there's a nice grey. But here's the thing that's quite funny as well. All the way through Europe, especially the most lefty countries of Europe, are especially in fucking Sweden, barely a country, but they are seeing a massive rise in the right, a huge rise in the right, and see the more and more people that get fucked over by left-wing ideology, more and more ranks swell in the right, which means in the future, the more and more people join the right, the more and more that affects the polls. Which basically means in the future, most likely a right-wing government could get voted in. And now this could be the wrong kind of right-wing government. the bad kind, the far right kind of government. And these guys in the government now have access to these exact same laws that have a nice big grey area, right? So, and then all it's going to do is it's just going to get flipped to the other side, maybe with even more drastic consequences. So this is the thing: it's in the interest of both the left and the right to just get rid of these laws. It's a case of these laws are literally a double-edged sword, depending on who gets voted in. Yeah. So it's in everybody's interest to just completely annihilate these laws and get fucking rid of them. That's basically what.
Well, they're not going to do that.
Yeah, I know.
They're happy with them. They'll probably double down on those laws until, like you say, a hard right government takes power, like what happened in Austria. In Austria, they're hard right. I love living in Eastern Europe. In Eastern Europe, I'm in Ukraine, right? And nobody gives a shit about. And you can say whatever the fuck you want. Nobody cares. Nobody cares, because at the end of the day, who gives a shit what you say? The fact that people are policing what other people say is just, frankly, a function of just having too much goddamn time on their hands. I mean, I barely can keep track of the shit that I say, let alone what somebody else says. I mean, so why bother? But, well, you know, I don't quite understand the rationale of it, though I suspect it has to do with the normalization of behavior that I think is kind of despicable. The fact that you can't criticize gay people in the UK, I think I'm not going to put you guys in the spot because potentially you could get into trouble for being on this live stream and talking about it. So I'll just say it. It just seems that, you know, the inability to criticize a lifestyle, which I find just morally wrong, you know, to not be able to say that you consider something morally wrong, that's just.
Hello. Can I interrupt for just a second?
Right in the microphone.
Who's that?
Hi, Dank.
Oh.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine.
You're
I'm supposed to leave the room. Hang on.
Are you de-stressing?
I'm trying to at the moment. Kind of getting a lot of papers writing a lot of shit about me just now.
Aww.
So I'm trying to stay chill, but I'm fine.
Well, we like you.
Thank you.
Don't worry about all that other crap. Those people suck.
I appreciate that. Thanks very much.
All right. So, hi everyone else.
Hi.
You know, you're famous, Dag. She wanted to come in and say hello. There you go. Sorry, boys.
Well, just to ask a question to Coach Red Pill, right? Obviously, you have a dislike for the LGBT lifestyle. Is that correct?
I think that you should be free to do whatever you want to, but I think that
that's what I was going to lead on to. Yeah. So basically, even though you dislike the lifestyle, you wouldn't restrict their freedoms in any way.
No.
That's exactly the right mindset, and that's the one that everybody needs to adopt. Yeah. That's the thing is like, for example, as well, I have a dislike for girls who suck every dick they see. Right?
Yeah. Me too. You know, just don't care for them.
Yeah, but you know, you might spend the night with them, but you're not going to bring them home to meet your mother, right? You know what I mean, right?
Well, I don't know if that analogy works, because see, I'm not going to spend the night with a gay guy. So.
Just saying, don't knock it.
What are you saying? The gay guys suck? Are you saying that gay guys give a lot of fellatio?
No, Dankula, please describe it. Explain. We want to know. Inquiring minds want to know.
Well, I don't know, Coach. It sounded like you were saying they were promiscuous to a terrible degree.
I'm just saying that powerful distilled wine and cocaine does things to a man, right? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point. That is the right mindset. So, for example, if there is, I'm of the ethos that if you want to do something, it doesn't bring harm to yourself or others, and also does not infringe on the freedom of others, then that's fine. And see how, for example, Coach says, I don't like the gay lifestyle. That's fine. He can say that. He has every right to say it. If people want to challenge him on his point, then that's fine. Social consequences for speech will always be a thing. That's always been a given, right? Mm-hmm. If you say something publicly, then the public will challenge you on it. That is just the way it works.
Yeah,
but the time when I've got an issue would be if Coach said, we should ban gay rights or ban gay people from being teachers and like all this type of stuff. That's when I have an issue. But as far as I'm aware, you're not advocating for that at all. So I have no issue.
Well, from my point of view, I guess it's a good Catholic boy's position, you know. So like hate the sin, love the sinner, that kind of shit. I'm sort of like not so much like that. I hate the sin and hate the sinner too, and just throw them out of a helicopter. Fuck it, you know.
I just imagined it.
I follow.
That's Catholic.
I follow the words of Bishop Arnaud. He said, "Kill them all. Let God sort them out." You know.
Yes, that's very Catholic. Yes,
very Catholic.
I just imagine that. See, every country in the world, whenever there's like a mother or father walking with their kids, and like they see a helicopter in the sky, they go, "Oh, the kids, look at the helicopter." I get the feeling that Chile is the only place in the world where they're like, "Look away, honey, look away."
Well, we can't let that one go. That is funny. I mean, I've seen Christians, you know, because anyway. I mean, I'll shut up. We got guests. Common sense. I will. No, I'll soliloquize. Listen, everybody knows me. If I start talking, I won't shut up. We got two great guests.
I do go soon, though. Sorry.
Well, then, Count Dankula, you answered your own question. Who goes first? Sir, you after Coach.
Oh, so Coach was still saying something. Yeah.
The helicopter thing. It never happened. Okay. It was a bullshit story that the left made up. Okay.
Oh, that's actually disappointing.
Yeah. But I mean, it never happened. Okay. They said that it happened, but everybody in Chile knows that that's bullshit. Reason being is because in Chile, somebody actually explained it to me once. I didn't fucking understand it. But because of the tides and the plate tectonics, that the fact that the Latin American plate is going over the Pacific, and therefore it's like really, there's like this big trench. And I don't quite understand how it works. But anyway, the point is that any body that falls into the sea for whatever reason, like some boat accident or whatever, they always get washed up. Okay. Back in 2010, there was an earthquake, a really big one, 8.8. And there was a tsunami, of course, and it swept away like 500 people. And they found every single one of those people because they all got swept out to sea. But then the sea just tossed them all back onto the beaches over the next few days. Okay. And not a one went missing. They all came back. And so the idea of, you know, the Pinochet dictatorship flying out in a helicopter and tossing somebody out of a helicopter into the ocean, that's stupid because the body would have washed back up. Okay. And so, but it's a great story. It's a great meme. So, you know, I mean, if you want to know, that's the truth. I think I might have like ruined the meme for you, but
yeah, you have. You shouldn't have told me.
I thought they threw him right off into the rocks, man. I didn't know. I've seen like old grainy video. So maybe bullshit, Coach, but
they buried them out in the desert. I
thought they just took them off.
They did. They dropped them in the
desert. Yeah. No, say it again, Coach. I was talking.
No, they left them out in the desert. They buried them in the desert. In the north of Chile, it's the driest fucking desert in the world. There's fucking nothing. You drive out 20 miles in any direction, make a hole, stick them in, and leave, and nobody's ever going to fucking find it.
Hey, Coach, they forget about the fire rocks, man. They forget about what Chile is. It's a huge country, and it goes all the way so far down south into Patagonia, man. Yeah. And they forget about Patagonia, the fire rocks, where it's so cold, it's like fire. And only the strong survive, by the way. That is a fact, man. I mean, that's like the Highlands count because I'm close to a place that's similar to the Highlands, but not quite as rough. Man, the Highlands is a vacation land to a man from Patagonia.
Maybe.
Well, I'm going to need to jump off just now. So if you want to do the last word.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but who goes first? No, that's the thing. I don't know who goes first.
Well, I mean, as Coach Pill, hang on. As Coach Pill was our first guest, unfortunately, Dank, you're going to have to be the low man on the totem pole for a change.
That's fine.
And then me. So if you wouldn't mind going first, please, Count Danker.
That's fine. Just in regards to the overall argument, yeah, UKIP did start as a meme, but if I can develop it into something positive, because obviously I'm the free speech guy and not by choice. You know, I kind of just got all of this thrown into my lap. But they are the only party that are actually campaigning for freedom of speech and individual liberties as well. Like, I want to protect someone's right to be gay just as much as someone's right to criticize gay lifestyle. If they want to do that, that's fine. If people want to have their identity and all that type of stuff, then that's absolutely fine. If people want to have their religion, that's absolutely fine. Keep it the fuck out of this country's laws. That's my overall point. Like, you can say whatever you want and you can do whatever you want as long as you're not encouraging violence or you're not harming yourself physically in the process, and also you're not infringing on other people's liberties as well. That's my entire ethos, and that's ideally what I hope to change. And also, if I could, in some way, establish a British constitution, well, that would just give me a gigantic fucking freedom boner.
Well said. Well said. Coach Redpool, your turn, sir.
I don't have anything intelligent to say as a last word, so I guess that's going to be it. I mean, I really don't, because I'm like, to tell you the truth, it's like almost 11 here, and I was just chilling out, and your invite to talk was very, very welcome and a lot of fun. Yeah, so I just want to thank you both for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and Dankula, it's great meeting you finally.
You ruined the Pinochet meme. Go fuck yourself.
Well, gentlemen, I will not be that succinct, but I will look at the clock and keep it to under 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I did something amazing today. I woke up and I started breathing in and out. And then I took my hands and I grabbed a piece of wood with a metal implement on the end of it. And though I do not need to, though whatever fates or gods or whatever it is there be have decreed that I could be a fat tub of lard that did nothing but buy my groceries at the supermarket, I am but a fat tub of lard that grows my own groceries. Man, today was so oppressively hot. And I did that amazing thing. I woke up this morning, I took a deep breath, I went out into the world. Gentlemen, you, Coach, and you, Count Dankula, represent to me polar opposites of the world. Both provocateurs, but polar opposites of this provocateur world. One, the one that has the audacity to say you wouldn't want to stir anybody up or be childish, and the other one that has the audacity to say you said something stupid and therefore I'm going to humiliate you in public. Both with tremendous mendacity. Tremendous chutzpah is what my grandfather would say. And so I hope that I have not offended much, that I've spoken as little as possible, and that our words will be reached by those not in multitude, but with a fertile heart that would listen and realize there is a place at the table for Coach Redpill, for Count Dankula, for your ever-loving blue-eyed ogre, and for my beloved co-host, Common Sense Guy.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, everyone. I'd just like to say thank you very much to my guests today, and thank you very much for Ogre for arranging all of this as well today. Thank you very much to Coach Redpool for turning up to have the initial conversation, and thank you very much, Count Dankula, for coming down for the invite to be able to talk about different things that we didn't have planned. Thank you very much for turning up. Thank you very much, man.
Cheers, cheers. Don't be strangers either.
Yeah. Okay, take it easy.
Right, after all that, I'm not going to take any more of your time up. I'm actually going to go, same as Coach Redpool, just gone.
It's cool, man.
But thank you very much. And with that all being said, bye-bye for now.